You're listening to the Food Garden Life Show, the show with simple, practical, and fun ideas to help you grow food at home, whether it's on a balcony, in a backyard, or bigger. I'm your host, Stephen Biggs. Welcome to Season 9, Episode 11, and today we continue our cross-Canada tour talking to Canadian garden experts to share some favorite veggie variety ideas as you plan your 2026 garden. And in today's episode, I head to Calgary to talk to my former co-host here on the show, Donna Balzer. And Donna's a horticulturist, author, longtime gardener, former CBC garden expert, and we talk about her favorite veggie varieties, ones that she grows year after year, but also ones that have more recently impressed her. Donna and I wrote No Guff Vegetable Gardening together in 2011, and she's been such a great gardening friend and inspiration for me in all these years. I'm a big fan of her approach to gardening. And by the way, if you're looking for a copy of No Guff Vegetable Gardening, drop by Donna's website, donnabalzer.com, DonnaBalzer.com. And now, here's my chat with Donna. Hey, Donna, welcome back to the Food Garden Life podcast. It's so good to have you here again.
Oh, I know, Steve. We keep thinking we've talked about everything to do with gardening, and there's always something new or old that's new again.
I'm super glad you're here to talk about favorite varieties because this year I've been doing a cross Canada tour of Canadian garden experts to get favorite varieties, longtime favorites, recent favorites, and I know you have some favorites. So I'm eager to pick your brain. And I wonder if we can start with some of your longtime favorites that you're thinking that you will grow again in 2026.
Oh, of course. As you know, because of Emma and your own practice there in Toronto, the tomatoes are huge, and there's hundreds of kinds of tomatoes. And I really always think, all right, that's it. I got my new favorite. And then someone says, well, what about big beef? I'm like, yeah, I grown that. I grew it again. It's okay, but it's not my favorite. My favorite is an old discovery by a friend of yours, Craig Lahoulier. So 10 years ago or so, I tried the favorite medium-sized tomato. I'm not talking about, you see people standing and posing with their massive size of their head tomatoes. It's not that. It's not a new introduction. It's something that's been kicking around for quite a while, but the combination of size, flavor, productivity. Now remember, I'm in Calgary, so not in a super hot area. We get late spring frosts, we get early fall frosts. But my favorite tomato, which I'm definitely growing again, I've started, I've got it looking fantastic, is the Cherokee purple tomato.
Okay, so Cherokee purple, and that says a lot because I think of Calgary, and you mentioned late frosts in the spring, early fall frosts, but you get crazy summertime weather too, I think, because I remember my grandfather in Calgary had this bank of permanent cold frames for his tomato plants. So,
Yes. Or people will use those high tunnels with just the cover. Even in BC, when I lived in BC at UBC Gardens, they just had the little plastic cover or stiff covers, and then just to stop the rain from falling on, because we get so much hail here, so much hail. I mean, you think you're past frost season, then you start in hail season. So anything you can do to cover your tomatoes will help. And one of my favorite, now I'm growing it undercover, but as I said, still all kinds of trouble here, is the Cherokee purple.
okay. So, beyond tomatoes, what are some other longtime favorites?
Well, years ago, probably 8 years ago, when I was struggling with cilantro, like everyone across Canada is struggling, I mentioned it on CBC radio. And a farmer from central BC phoned in and said, you should try this Calypso. And I was like, farmer is growing a variety that I haven't heard about that is late to burst into bloom, because that's the trouble. You're growing your cilantro, but the leaves and everything change the day it starts to bloom. And it's a beautiful bloomer. It's a great pollinator, but if you want the cilantro leaves, you want it to delay going into bloom as long as possible. So that variety of cilantro I started growing about 8 years ago. I still love it. I've already started it. I'm growing it already this year, and it's called Calypso.
Calypso cilantro.
Another plant that I love to grow, I think we've talked about this endlessly, is broccoli. A few years ago, I guess 5 years ago, I came across one that produces a really nice head, big head. Then side shoots like crazy. So we actually had so much broccoli, we would invite people over to just give them bags of broccoli. And this is often like 8 plants, so it's not even that many plants. It's called green magic broccoli.
Hmm.
It's
Okay.
surpassed everything I had grown before and even better, and even outdoors in Calgary, not in my greenhouse.
So you get that nice initial head, and after you harvest that, you're getting lots of side shoots.
So many side shoots, and they're a good size too. They're not just those tiny little ones going. Some broccolis will sprout too much if it gets too hot or gets too cold or something happens, but these ones just carry on. Okay, I need to speed up. I have so many things. I had a cucumber variety that I grew when I was a student, and you know me, so you know how many years ago that was. It's almost 50 years. It's just so
Wow.
crazy. I'm like, what? When I was at the University of Alberta, I was in the test trials and we grew this shockingly good cucumber. And then I had about 3 years because today, when you're looking for cucumbers, you mostly find the special virus resistant ones or the special English cucumbers, or people don't even remember the olden days, Steve, when you had to peel a cucumber. When I give this plant away, I have to tell people, remember, this is old field cucumber. You have to peel it. It's not the newer modern English cucumber. And people actually don't know that. They only know cucumbers from the grocery store, so they don't know the old school. But cucumbers have gotten so expensive with all the special breeding, and you'll easily pay $10, $15 for a little packet of seeds. And I'm like, one day, 3 years ago, threw in the towel and said, I'm going to try out that really old type of cucumber that I grew back in school, open pollinated cucumber. So the price is really low, called Market More. Now they've got sometimes Market More improved or Market More 76. It's so shocking. It even in weird summers, it produces uh, so many cucumbers. Too many. I have to give them away. So market more cucumber if you're looking for something inexpensive, something that's not a cucumber that you can grow in your greenhouse. It's just a field cucumber. Sure, a little bit of cover is great for it, but it's fantastic. I think I
Okay.
mentioned to you earlier about the kale. One of my favorite kales is winter boar, and it has a partner called red boar. It's so pretty, the red boar, but it was off the market for years, so I just gave it up. But winter boar has always been on the market. Winter boar is amazing.
Now, are there any more long time favorites, or should we jump to some newer
Well, there
favorites?
are more long time ones, but let's just jump on to some of the new ones because I discovered something so great last year.
All right, tell me what it is. Hmm.
Everyone across Canada, maybe across the world, has been complaining. Their biggest problem with climate change is that zucchini aren't producing the way they used to produce because bees are being effective. Bees are not pollinating their zucchinis. Sometimes it's August. I mean, people joked about zucchinis in the olden days. Oh, make sure to lock your doors at night on your car, or people will be filling up the seats with zucchinis. I mean, this was just, people had too many zucchini. They didn't know what to do about them. So last year I tried just on a lark a new variety called Maverick. Think Maverick, new, trendy. Maverick zucchini is parthenocarpic. It can be pollinated, but it doesn't have to be pollinated. So last year I seeded them on May 4th. They germinated. I grew them inside for a couple of weeks. Again, cold climate. We can't just plant these things outside here. Put them out in early June. By mid June, they were flowering, and I had zucchinis before the end of June. And it's because they're not waiting for the bees to pollinate them. They just go ahead, they start producing little fruit. So, Maverick, if you're having any troubles at all, just grow them side by side with your normal zucchini because Maverick is not going to wait for the bees to come around. You're going to get
Hmm.
zucchinis nice and
And
early.
do a comparison.
Do your
Yeah.
own comparison. I had three kinds of zucchini growing last year, and the Mavericks were producing tons of edible fruit by end of June, and that's just shocking here in Calgary. So
Mm,
I had to mention Maverick. I really liked it. My top
Maverick.
pick.
Okay. Good.
Another thing I tried last year that I just really liked, even though I talked about winter kale and it's fantastic, but winter kale can get big. It can be a meter tall by the end of the season. Some people don't have room for that, especially if they're growing their zucchini in a pot. So I tried a new one, Prism, Prizm. Prism kale looks exactly like winterboard. It has those nicely ruffled leaves, but the overall plant is more like a little piece of a bouquet. If you put it on the side of a pot, it only gets about 30 centimeters tall.
Good for container gardening, I guess.
It's tough for me because lettuce seed is so easy. It reseeds itself, it grows everywhere. Everybody has tons of lettuce. There's hundreds of kinds of lettuce. Where do you choose? But I chose a new one, Frizzy Go lettuce. Frizzy Go lettuce. It's a jewel. It's like prism in a way, but it grows individual stalks out of the ground. So even though it looks like a head from a distance, when you cut it, it's virtually ready to eat. You don't have to recut it. It's all very finely divided, which gives it, farmers and chefs call it loft in a salad. If you serve your salads just flat on your plate, it doesn't have that loft. Well, the
Hmm.
frizzy lettuces.
Okay, so Frizzy Go for ease of harvest.
I think I should mention Yukon spinach. It's just one of the best ones for overwintering for me. I like to grow spinach in spring, but as you know, it goes to seed. It goes to seed by end of May. What are you going to do for spinach?
And when you talk about your overwintering spinach, just so listeners can visualize this, Donna has a greenhouse, so these are growing in the greenhouse. But you could do this in a cold frame too, right?
I've done it right out in the garden. So you can overwinter spinach. People realize this. In Canada, we can overwinter spinach outside, but you can give it a head start if you also, at the same time as you plant outside, if you plant some in a greenhouse or a cold frame or any covered situation.
Okay. And when are you sowing those?
So those are sowed in usually late August, early September. The trouble is it's kind of hot then. Spinach doesn't like to germinate when it's hot. So I germinate them best not in my greenhouse. I germinate them best not in my house, on the north side outside of my house. It's cool at night in Calgary. That coolness will start that spinach coming up. And then I just transplant it.
Have you anything new lined up to try this year?
Oh, yes, I do, because I'm a shopper. So I was at the farmer's market this weekend, and there's a plant. Absolutely love this plant. Beans. Do you like beans, Steve?
Love beans.
Oh. What I hate about beans, especially in our cold climate, because you can't plant them in the cold soil. You have to wait, and it takes a long time to come. I crave them come January, February, March. I'm like, where's those beans? So I was at the farmer's market and I bought kind of bean that I would never have thought to grow in the garden, because it's a bean that is not, I like the French beans. I like the really narrow pencil sized beans. I just like those. I like French beans. They're always round. They're beautiful. They look good on the plate. But at the farmer's market, the gal there convinced me to try Romano beans. They had a big sign up, Romano beans. And they're also called European slicing beans. So I looked them up in one of my favorite catalogs, and let me read you this description. Very early string bean for the greenhouse and for outside growing, or they said outdoor growing. Yields a huge harvest of flat pods. And as I said, normally don't like flat podded beans. Maybe it's the season. Slow to get fibrous. Excellent to try them in high tunnels and greenhouses. These ones are called Algarve, just like the region of Portugal, Algarve. So this year, you see, I've highlighted them, I've ordered them. I'm getting Algarve beans for my greenhouse because I can plant them earlier. I can let them climb up. I can start eating them. I don't usually get beans in my garden until August. So I want
Hmm.
beans in June, July, and August. And I had some types of arugula I want to try. I always let my arugula reseed, and I like that. but there's some new types that have red leaves, and I want to try that. Dragon's fire arugula is one of the ones that looks really pretty. And then I'll just change it up because arugula is easy to just let it reseed. Like spinach, it'll come up early, you'll get a lot of it. And I've already seeded outdoors my arugula.
So, for my listeners who are in the Calgary area, I'd love to know, what are you doing when?
Well, usually by mid-March, I start my tomatoes. I've also got the greenhouse. So as I already said, I've got my spinach. I'm already eating spinach. I've seeded my radishes. The soil's quite cool. I did put a heat cable on it. You can buy special heat cables, or you can just go to a hardware store and buy cables that they sell for warming up your eaves troughs. Outdoors, all I've done is arugula. Because we're getting the frost, we're getting like down to -9 this week. We were getting snow again. We're getting warm weather. We had like 18 degrees Celsius last Saturday. So it's up and down. But arugula is okay with that. So you can just direct seed that outside anytime. I have pots that I do arugula in. There's a little trick with arugula because if you plant it too late, it's when farmers are planting their canola, which it's a closely related plant. So then you get a lot of the little holes in your leaves.
The flea beetles.
Trying to beat those flea beetles just by a minute there. So by seeding them early in a warm spot in pots that are next to my greenhouse but outside, I can get them to germinate faster and they'll start growing and I'll be eating it before the flea beetles open. But my biggest thing yesterday was lady beetle.
Lady beetle.
So excited to see a lady beetle in my greenhouse. So I saw a few outside and people will notice those. And that's why I don't clean up a lot in the fall. I was telling you earlier, my broccoli is still out there, those plants, because they're sort of providing shelter. All of my old arugula is sort of nesting on top of itself. I haven't cleaned it up.
Okay, Donna, we should fit in one more crop. And before we started recording, you were telling me about a really fun bean that you tracked down at a seedy Saturday. Tell our listeners about it.
Oh, it's too crazy. It's just like the Jack and the Beanstalk story. So I had to last year send a few up to my grandkids so that they would grow them because the beans are huge. They're the size bigger than a loonie. Anyway, only a Canadian would get that reference, right, Steve?
Yeah.
Anyway, huge beans. They weren't developed in Canada. You can read the whole story on the No Coast Seeds website. And I've also seen it written up in the Globe and Mail. But it's a bean that grows so fast. I'll tell you how fast it grows. And I'm in a cold climate. I had probably 5 or 6 foot tall poles on my runner beans, and it was kind of mid-June, and they seemed to be getting as tall as the poles. So I went out and made a special effort to buy 9 foot tall poles to put into my runner beans. And the next day, these beans had grown up. I don't know how they did this. They grew like 30, 45 centimeters in one night. And then they exceeded those poles, and I just couldn't get bigger poles. Where are you going to get bigger than 9 feet tall poles? So this bean, which is available in Canada, it's a type of a runner bean, a scarlet runner beans. What attracts bees, it attracts hummingbirds. It's called shin shu. So I don't know where it gets that name from, but it's a fast growing, it's a scarlet runner bean. And I tried it for the first time last year, bought it at the Seedy Saturday, definitely growing it again this year. It's amazing. Also, it seems to come true from seeds, so you can save your own seeds.
Nice. Okay. Shin Shu runner bean.
Right.
Love it. Thank you, Donna.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing those favorites, Donna, and those new things that you're trying. And hope that you have a super season in the garden.
I will. Thanks so much, Steve.
Nice to have you back. You're listening to the Food Garden Life Show. I'm Stephen Biggs.